tracking one more round of rain that could impact your evening. Who's most likely to see showers and the taste of spring that's on the way.
First responders are the latest victims in a string of property theft. Why thieves are going after fire stations and the solutions on the table.
And flames on her doorstep.
I'm in fear of my life at this point.
WRAL investigates a neighborhood dispute and what police did after 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur got involved.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking at 6 o'clock, part of US 70 still closed nearly 20 hours after a crash at this intersection brought down power lines and traffic lights. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Deborah Morgan. This is creating a significant slowdown in the Garner area right around Timber Drive. As you're looking live at our traffic map, you see the purple there showing that the road is still closed. We have team coverage tonight, beginning with WRAL's Sean Gallagher live there. And Sean, DOT crews are still trying to get that road back open.
Yeah, Deborah, in the last 15 to 20 seconds, you might be able to see here behind me, traffic is back open after 18 hours after a crash ruined this intersection. It is totally back open. Take a look here behind me. Traffic as normal here on Highway 70 after that crash. Early this morning, just after midnight, you can see the crews with their blinking yellow lights over there, wrapping everything up, but it has been an extremely long day. Take a look at this video that we got around noon today. That was when the first traffic lights got lifted off of the ground to go back into the position that they're in right now. We thought maybe a couple hours after that they would reopen this roadway, but it was several hours, not until right now at 6 o'clock that you can see all of this traffic back out here live is acting as normal. This is exactly what it should look like here on Highway 70. The first time it's looked like this all day. This is the second bout of rush hour traffic that is going through here, and DOT had given a prediction of 4 o'clock. They didn't meet that, so it was pushed back to 6:30 that they believed that this would be back open. They're about a half an hour ahead of schedule right now. In Garner, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
And this is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center. Good news that the lanes are open out there, but we have some residual delays we're going to have to work through on a lot of the surrounding roads as drivers got detoured around that closed section of 70 at Timber Drive. Very heavy delay showing up right now on sensors on southbound Wilmington Street, heading away from downtown Raleigh, down through the Tryon Road interchange, all the way down toward the Old Stage Road intersection. Also seeing some heavy traffic on Garner Road as people used that as a detour as well. So now that we have those lanes open, we'll see some improvement, but we're still going to have to work through those heavy backups on the alternate routes.
Boy, it just happened. Glad to know that it's open. Thanks so much, Brian. Right now at 65,000 votes and a seat on our state's highest court are at stake as judges hear arguments months after Election Day over the 2024 race for North Carolina Supreme Court. Republican Jefferson Griffin is calling for those 65,000 votes to be tossed out. He trails Democratic incumbent Allison Riggs by more than 700 votes after several recounts. WRAL's Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live in Richmond, Virginia, where arguments before the 4th Federal Court of Appeals just wrapped up. Laura.
Deborah, it was a feisty 90-minute set of arguments today, and the appeals panel peppering attorneys for Riggs and Griffin with questions. You know, at issue, the big issue here, does Griffin's bid to throw out these 65,000 voters belong in the state court or in the federal courts? And we learned today that question may end up in front of the U.S. Supreme Court before we get this race settled.
Democrats argue that Republican candidate Jefferson Griffin's bid to throw out 65,000 votes violates those voters' constitutionally protected rights, and they say that's why the case should be handled by the federal court. But Republicans say this is a state elections matter that the state courts should decide. Republicans also hold a majority of seats on those courts. The case is currently being heard in both state and federal courts at the same time, a very unusual situation. And the federal judges said that complicates the issue. Senior Judge Paul Niemeyer said the federal courts don't like to step in and take away cases that the state is currently hearing. But attorneys for Riggs argued that that was Griffin's strategy to try to keep it out of federal court. Niemeyer seemed to be open to the idea of sending the case up to the U.S. Supreme Court to let them decide who should have jurisdiction. Meantime, Riggs supporters gathered outside the courthouse with signs. One of the judges remarked how unusual it was to have so many people at an oral argument.
Now, Allison Riggs was at today's arguments, but she and her legal team declined to comment for us. We also spoke with Griffin's attorney today. He also declined our interview request. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Richmond, Virginia.
All right, Laura, thank you. A setback for the future of a financially troubled university in Raleigh. The state attorney general, Jeff Jackson, says he will not sign off on a land lease deal that would net St. Augustine's tens of millions of dollars. Ashley Rowe is here in the studio with us. Ashley, what are the AG's concerns?
Well, St. Augustine's University has had trouble paying employees and its bills for years. A land lease deal with a Florida company is seen as a savior, giving the school a lot of cash to catch up. But the Attorney General says that deal has too many red flags for now. The deal allows Florida-based 50+1 Sports to redevelop all of the school's off-campus property. St. Augustine's would rent back its educational property to remain in operation. The AG says the $70 million the school would get up front is not enough, considering the property is worth almost $200 million. The office also wants more details on the revenue sharing plan from those off-campus projects that would give the school additional money for decades to come. According to the letter that we obtained today, the Attorney General has repeatedly asked for more information to ease its concerns. The school hasn't provided it. We reached out to St. Augustine's for reaction to this decision, have not yet heard back, Gerald.
All right, thank you, Ashley. Well, the rain has moved out of our area and warmer temperatures are going to move in.
Yeah, meteorologist Mike Mays is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Mike, we are set to feel a little closer to spring after a few sprinkles move out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if some locations saw 70 degrees later this week. Now, the widespread rain that we've been seeing all day in our southern counties, well, it's exiting. Not going to rule out some sprinkles through about 9 o'clock. There's a little spotty rain in Nash County right now, but the big weather story really this week is going to be the warming weather. Clinton, you guys have seen a lot of the rain today, as well as Fayetteville and Rayford, where some locations saw up to an inch. And it is cool out there right now, 49 in Raleigh, 48 at Fayetteville, 49 at South Hill. And we're going to watch out for the potential for some fog as we head through the evening. But we see a temperature turnaround coming above normal low temperatures. The normal low is 32. We don't see that here in the triangle at all over the next 7 days. Here's a look at the next 5 days. And by Saturday morning, the low is only 48. And check out our warming highs. 67 on Wednesday, near 70 on Friday. Also comes with a little bit of rain. I'll highlight that coming up.
All right, Mike, thank you. Thieves are increasingly breaking into the cars of our first responders. In some cases, those thieves are stealing guns. WRAL's Carly Haynes joins us now live. Carly, some firefighters in Durham say they are frustrated because they are not the only ones dealing with this.
And we're here at Fire Station 5 in Durham, and there's still broken glass right next to these cars. Thieves are going after the firefighters' personal cars. And while the Durham Fire Station was the latest, this is happening all over the region, particularly in places where cars are on site 24/7. Shattered security in an unsuspecting place.
It's a bigger picture than just simply a couple of vehicles getting broken into, because of the trickle-down effect that happens because of it.
While Durham firefighters are out saving lives, thieves are making their lives harder by breaking into cars.
We can't just start throwing up fences everywhere, so it just creates a bit of an issue for us.
Some personal cars were left looking like this around Durham fire stations last week. The same crime came to Chapel Hill days before. 15 cars hit across 3 fire stations.
We are seeing that across the town and across the region, actually. Long-term stays, whether it be hotels or, of course, the fire stations early in the morning, on the weekends and such.
Chapel Hill Police Chief Salisa LaHue says thieves are looking for quick cash and, in some cases, guns.
It's really unfortunate, and, we really... I think it has an impact on everybody, right? It's their personal space and their personal area, and it's expensive too.
Theft from cars increased almost 9% in Durham from 2023 to 2024. And it's more than just a pricey problem.
When we look at trying to get firefighters from other agencies, that's one of the things that they could potentially look at, is their city, are they having the same issue in their city right now? And if not, is that a deterrent from coming over?
Durham Fire is working to add more security cameras to parking lots and limit who can access radio traffic so the break-ins don't ignite into a larger issue. And Durham police say more than 500 guns were stolen in the city last year, and of those, 69% were stolen from cars. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Durham.
The Wake County District Attorney has asked the SBI to close its investigation into former state treasurer Dale Folwell. DA Lauren Freeman had previously asked authorities to look at how Folwell was using his state vehicles in March of 2024. The investigation found while Folwell went against state policy, there wasn't enough evidence to prosecute him for any crimes. Folwell agreed to reimburse the state about $6,000 for violating the policy.
Coming up, caught on camera, a fire on a woman's front porch. WRAL investigates why even with this video she says shows her former neighbor starting the fire, police have not made any arrests.
And here in the WRAL Live Center, as we reported just about 10 minutes ago, the DOT was able to reopen 70 at Timber Drive in Garner. Still seeing some backups, though, on some of the alternate routes that people were using, including southbound Wilmington Street. Also, some new information about a crash that had closed a section of Edenton Street in downtown Raleigh earlier, right around Dawson Street. We've learned that at least one lane has reopened.
Right now, the emerging Chinese AI app and why it's jolting the U.S. stock market. Plus, congestion pricing. Can it do for traffic in other cities what it's so far done in New York? Ahead on NBC Nightly News.
Here's a cool perspective of the WRAL tower here that we don't normally get. You see the clouds up in the sky there. This is, of course, the tallest Christmas tree in the area for the month of December. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV, Spectrum, and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A Fayetteville woman says this is a video of her former neighbor setting fire to her porch. She says despite having this video, police have yet to make an arrest.
So what do you do if you believe you've been the victim of a crime that's not being prosecuted? Keely Arthur explains the holdup.
It's the nightmare on Argon Avenue.
I'm in fear of my life at this point, really in fear.
And when you see what happened on Hazel Burgos' Fayetteville porch, you'll understand why.
He had a bunch of trash.
In this security camera footage, you can see a person setting fire to that trash and pouring igniter fluid on the flames. Those flames expand, scorching the trash and melting the blinds inside the house. More than 75 days have passed and no arrests have been made, despite the fact that Burgos says she told police who did it.
And he asked me, did I know the guy that was, I said, yes, I know him. I said, that's and he said, well, we got to make sure that that's him or this ain't going to court.
We're not naming the person Burgos accuses since they haven't been charged, but she says it's a former neighbor who has terrorized her and others.
Well, he's ran 3 people out of the house beside him because, he's doing these things. And I'm the only one homeowner, so the rest of them moved.
For Burgos, the incidents date back to 2022. You can see some of them caught on camera. In one video, you can see a car drive up on the front lawn inches from her home. In another, a person pounds their fists on the front door. Each time, Burgos says she's called the police.
He told me, he's just banging on the door. What you want me to do?
The police said that?
Police said that.
Criminal defense attorney Daniel Meyer noted the perpetrator's car is clearly visible in the video and suggested police may be delaying an arrest to gather more evidence.
So they may have been searching for cell phones in the area, and then you have to then analyze the numbers, and it just takes time because everything has to go back and forth through the company.
Fayetteville police confirmed they are investigating the incident as arson and are in the process of filing search warrants. For Burgos, each day without an arrest is another day where this threat remains. We're going to continue monitoring this situation. Now, Burgos had previously filed a request for a restraining order, but court records show it was dismissed because she failed to appear in court. As for the arson goes, Burgos told us it wasn't until 5 on Your Side got involved that she began hearing more from Fayetteville police detectives. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
So if you have a story you believe needs to be investigated, call 5 on Your Side at 919-821-8865. Or you can send an email to callkeely@WRAL.com.
Quite a story there. Sure. Well, a story we are following, just a few more showers here on the radar.
Yeah, just a little bit over Nash County and Edgecombe County. That's moving out. And the folks to the south got some good rain, washed away all the grime and the road salts. And I washed my car yesterday and I woke up this morning, raindrops on my car and everything got kind of nasty looking again today. I was driving around and the roads were a little bit wet, but there's a better chance of rain coming later in the week. So we had a temporary dip in temperature today, 57 yesterday to 52 today, but it's a week of spring, highs in the 50s and 60s. It's going to feel pretty good thanks to high pressure that'll build in Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's Monday, are going to be bright, but by Friday, this is the next system that comes in. Now, it did bring precipitation to California over the weekend. By the time we get to Wednesday, the upper level energy will shift to the east, producing the potential for severe weather across Texas. As of right now, it doesn't look like it would produce severe weather here when it arrives on Friday because this upper level energy will pass by to our north. I'll continue to watch this to see if it does change, but right now we're just looking at rain as we head into Friday evening. And here's what the European model shows. In fact, both the European model and the American model are in consensus about rain moving into the area on the evening hours or in the evening hours on Friday and into Friday night. Yesterday it was showing that it was more Saturday. Well, now it's sped up a bit. We'll see if this timing remains the same as the week goes on. But after this passes, we're in for a bright, dry, and mild weekend where highs will be likely in the 50s and 60s. So what we experienced this week will likely continue into the weekend, with Friday just being a little bump in the road. Take a look at rainfall potential. The American model showing about a ½ inch. The European model about 0.7 of an inch, 65 hundredths to 0.7. So this is all across the area. It's not just going to be confined to the southern part of the state. I think everybody has the chance for rain. 49 right now at RDU as we look at Clinton, where it did rain earlier today. 49 in Durham, 45 at Roxborough, 48 in Fayetteville. We're going to watch out for some fog over the next few hours, but we eventually will see clearing and cooling temperatures. The dew points will fall, the air will dry out. So by the time we start tomorrow morning, it should be dry. 20% chance of rain 7, 8, and 9 o'clock with mostly cloudy skies and some fog. 45 at 11 with partly cloudy skies. So our forecast overnight, we do expect it to be chilly north to south. 30 at Roxborough, 32 at Lewisburg, 33 at Rocky Mount. These temperatures will occur near sunrise. 30 in Sanford, 34 in Rayford, 35 in Fayetteville. And then tomorrow, beautiful day, 60 in Raleigh, 59 Goldsboro, 61 in Fayetteville, and more warmth to come as I showed you at the top of the newscast. The warmest days Wednesday and Friday. Groundhog weekend, 62 Saturday, 60 on Sunday, and it's a dry weekend ahead. And by next Monday, could be up to about 70 again. So
you know, if it's not going to snow, it might as well be sunny and 70.
We deserve this after our cold January.
We do. Yeah. Thanks so much.
Chris Lee is here. Got a big basketball game coming up.
Absolutely. It is rivalry week for the Duke Blue Devils. But before they look ahead to Saturday, they are going to see red tonight. After the break, WRAL's Pat Welter will join us live from Durham. He's going to tell us why Duke is such a juggernaut this season and what NC State has to do to get this upset tonight. That's next in sports. Just 303 days ago, Duke walked off the court in Dallas, Texas, facing the reality that their season was over in the Elite Eight. They lost 76-64 to a familiar foe, NC State. That game was the final win of the Pac's improbable 9-game run to make it to the Final Four, putting the Pac back into the national semifinals for the first time in 41 years. Welcome to sports. 303 days later, these two teams are back at it for the first time since that upset win by the Pac. An upset win is what they need tonight to take on the Blue Devils, who are having a 13-game winning streak, which is the longest current streak in the nation. WRAL's Pat Welter is live at Cameron Indoor Stadium for tonight's game. Pat, Duke is 17-2, undefeated in conference play, plus a top 5 offense and defense in the nation. What makes them such a juggernaut?
Well, Chris, the easy answer is Cooper Flagg, right? The nation's #1 recruit, future #1 pick in the NBA draft. He has lived up to the hype, but it is so much deeper than that. Flagg's drive and unselfishness has really permeated the entire Duke team, and something that John Shire has done so well here is get these players who are here for maybe 1 year to buy into something bigger than themselves. And yeah, Flagg's been great offensively, but it's Duke's defense that has really set them apart. Couple that with their length, yeah, they're top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency, which is the profile of a national champion if they can stay on this trajectory, Chris.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Duke has 9 wins in conference. NC State has 9 wins total, and the Blue Devils are 21-point favorites. What does NC State have to do to get an upset win tonight?
Well, it feels impossible, Chris, but so did making the Final Four. And I have learned to never say never again with this NC State team. But the Wolfpack are going to be up against it here tonight. Sounds simple, sounds easy, but they got to make shots. They have lost 4 straight games. They've scored more than 65 points just once during that stretch. Open looks are going to be hard to come by against Duke's length, but they cannot afford to miss them, or else this thing could be over at halftime, Chris.
Yeah, Pat, Duke's last 2 losses last year were to NC State, ACC tournament, then the Elite 8. Almost a completely new crop of guys for Duke and a few of familiar faces for NC State. Thank you so much. This game tips off at 8:30 p.m. in Durham. We'll have a live report from Pat and Luis Fernandez at 11 o'clock. By the way, we found out that Duke freshman Con Knippel's great-grandfather played for NC State back in the 1930s. He was actually their first All-American honorable mention ever, Bud Rose. So very interesting connection there.
Wow, a little family legacy there for the other team.
For the other team. Yeah.
All right, Chris, thank you. And thank you for joining us. We're just minutes away from NBC Nightly News. Tonight, the emerging Chinese AI app that turned the U.S. stock market on its head today.
And tonight at 7, Durham will share updates on the effort to eliminate lead from local parks. What they've accomplished so far tonight on WRAL News at 7.